Yeah. You're listening to Autodesk's Digital Builder Podcast, a show that inspires construction professionals to innovate and use technology to improve how they build our world. I'm Eric Thomas, and I've been working in construction for nearly a decade. And now I have the privilege to sit down with industry trailblazers to hear how they're solving construction's biggest challenges and redefining the future of the built environment. What is one tool that you will always bring to every project that you work on?
You did ask me this before. Let's see if I give the same answer. It should be the same.
Yeah, I'll give you 3.
Really, what I take from job to job is my tape measure.
Tape measure.
Measuring tape.
Measuring tape.
100%.
My can-do good attitude.
At my core, I definitely need to bring a pen and a notebook to every single meeting.
I am interested though. What is yours?
What is one tool that you will always bring to every project that you work on?
So I went more direct with this in my mind, where I would probably say iPad, just because that is a new tool in people's toolboxes on site. And there are a lot of tools within those iPads. But if I were to go a little more broad with that answer, I'd probably say empathy.
I like it. I mean, the iPad part of it, it's new, but the power of that technology is huge. I mean, honestly, it's why you and I are sitting here right now. Back when PlanGrid became a thing and somebody finally decided we can digitize our plans, and Tracy and the co-founders of that organization put all that together. But I also love the empathy thing. Thing is the wrong phrase. I really like the empathy as a tool, because it's a conversation point that I think more people are having in construction now. And I'm sure you've been in them as well, those rooms where 2 grown men are standing across from each other, yelling at each other over a project schedule or something. And those are uncomfortable moments. Even if you're outside the conference room, you can just hear it. And as we change the perception and the tone within our industry, I think leading with empathy is one of those tools that is going to get us to a point where more people are going to be interested in working with us. And I think the teams are going to collaborate better, and the outcome for the clients is going to be better too.
Exactly. And coming out of the past few years, I think it's just so important to just ask people, how are you doing?
Agreed.
How can I help? In
a meaningful way too. In the United States, and I've had the privilege of traveling a decent amount, and in the US, we can use that "how are you doing" as a very passive, flippant, just introductory question. Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. And then you carry on. We can go deeper, and I think there's value in that. So I like your answer. That's a good one.
So my first answer from the very first show was the determination. That was
I love that you remember and I didn't.
Yes. So I'm going to go with kind of that same philosophy. And I've heard a lot of the other great answers from the previous guests. But to me, one tool that for my role and what I do at our company that I have to bring is the ability to communicate effectively. That tool is critical, especially as we're talking about change and change management innovation. People are going to be hesitant to what are we talking about? I don't want to do this new process. I don't want to try this new thing. So while the tools are critical to continue to evolve, how we communicate that is a tool that is valuable and a skill set that I need to own every single job site.
It's a fantastic answer, and it's not a skill set that we're taught in school either. In the depth and importance of emotional intelligence alongside just business intelligence is tremendous, especially for our leaders, but even for the individual, as far as how do you navigate work conflict? How do you navigate stressful situations? How do you communicate that change management that you're talking about? It's so many layers deep. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks aren't necessarily empowered there because they haven't been told so clearly that this is important right alongside the technical skills and the managerial skills you have. And I think the best leaders that I've ever worked for have such an incredible level of emotional intelligence and ability to communicate both how they're feeling and also that it's okay to come to them to tell them how you're feeling goes a long way, regardless of the scope of what change you're doing, whatever circumstance it is. So that's an awesome answer, Cliff.
Thank you.
I like it.
I'm glad you said that, because to me, I always try to tell my team as I've grown into a leadership role, communication's a two-way street. It's me maybe communicating, but it's me also listening.
Absolutely.
And then how I write, how my written skills is a part of that communication as well.
Yeah, it all really does come full circle.
Vinayak, what about you? What's one tool that you would love to bring to every project that you work on?
Yeah, I'll give you 3.
which is 2 open ears and 1 open mind. And with that, you can solve any problem, honestly.
I like that too. And you're absolutely right, especially as a leader like yourself, without the ability to step back and really think about what you're being told and what's being shared with you, it's going to be a challenge to sometimes have some of the meaningful impact that you'd like. But I think the other edge of that, and it's something I'm seeing more and more in our leaders today, is the willingness to listen and learn and creating this safe environment to share that feedback.
It's funny because when I first thought, I go, well, I have to bring my computer everywhere. But really what I take from job to job is my tape measure that I've had since I started.
Nice.
Because at the end of the day, that's still what everything is fit to a dimension. And, if there's ever an issue, it's probably we're trying to measure it, figure it out. So I've always got one in my pocket when I'm walking around.
It's a good answer. I think I have 4 tape measures at my house. There's one in my desk, there's one in the kitchen, and I think there's 2 in the workshop because I lose things constantly. So it's always good to have a backup one in my toolbox when I'm pulling something out. So that's an awesome answer. I appreciate that.
Measuring tape. 100%. Yeah.
I actually had that answer this morning on a different conversation I was having, and I love that one. How many measuring tapes do you own?
I would say 3. The different one, the 12-footer, the 25-footer, the one that's like the really thick 25-footer so you can hold it up, right?
Yeah, the beastly one where it's
exactly.
like you can fight with those. Yeah. And
right.
Don't ask me how I know about that, but I think I have 4. 3 kind of modern, like you said, where the different sizes and such. And then I have one that's my grandpa's actually. And so it doesn't have like the locker or anything on it, but it's like beefy and just all solid metal. And I keep that under my desk just in case I need to measure something random. And also if somebody breaks in, I can probably fight them off with it because it weighs so much.
Right. Well, coming from architecture too, you walk around the job site, whatever's reflected in the plans never is always exactly to the 1/8 of the 1/4 of an inch that you wanted. So you had to bust out the measuring tape to validate that.
How about you, Lisa? What's one tool you'd bring to any project you're working on?
So it would be blue tape. I always see punch list items that need to be fixed. And so blue tape and plan grid and making sure that those punch list items are resolved. So I even have blue tape around my house every time I see a ding. I'm like, there's a piece of blue tape. We got to go fix that later.
I like that. And you get to pick your collar and it kind of helps identify. It's like, this is my stuff here. If you look around at all the podcast equipment, there are blue stripes and pink stripes on a lot of these things. Yeah. And that's indicative of whose piece of equipment actually we're using. So it's a good one too. And something I apply in a adjacent fashion, I guess. So thank you.
Well, so Eric, you're probably starting to get the kind of a theme that I'm going to say. I always bring a schedule with me. I always bring logistics with me, and it just allows me to describe and explain and to my own team, but also my subcontractors on how we're going to walk through that project, how we're going to get to the finish line successfully. It's very easy to explain that to the owner as well, and so every job I go to. We were talking earlier, and you said a tape measure. Well, yeah, but for me, it's a schedule and it's logistics and just having the plan of attack and getting everybody to buy into your plan of attack. So if I speak to it very confidently and I understand, how we need to move through the job, it's a lot easier to get my team and my subcontractors to, buy into that.
It makes sense. And in technology now, as I come back to that again, I think makes it easier to have that information accessible regardless of where we're going now. I mean, could you imagine 15 years ago being able to walk into an owner's meeting and somebody asks a question about some document that you don't have, to be able to just quickly go, hold on 1 second, you pull out your iPad or your iPhone or whatever, and you hold on, let me pull this up, and then boom, here's the most accurate, up-to-date information, even though I didn't know you were going to request that document today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's huge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you 2 answers because right now when I go out to a project, I'm not specifically working on that project, I need my laptop because what I'm doing, I'm collecting information. But when I'm out at project, I think I would go with one of those digital tape measurers that have both a pull tape and the laser, because I can't imagine trying to build something like tolerances and locations and clashes. Like, I feel like I'd be pulling a tape all day.
You just
And
shrug and go, good enough.
yeah, and if I'm the only one that had a tape, I'd be everybody's friend.
Yep.
Yeah, so for some of the viewers, this might sound like, like cliche or like, like taboo, but as a technology lover, like, someone that truly appreciates technology, at my core, I definitely need to bring a pen and a notebook to every single meeting. I'm definitely listening. I'm definitely like engaged. We'll bring innovative workflows, but there's just something satisfying about writing it down, having it, turn the page, crossing it off. That tactile, note taking for me is a must.
It makes sense. And for me, to-do lists are almost always on paper. I've tried to digitize. I stumble over that word all the time. I've tried to use digital tools for my to-do list, just like personal stuff before, and I'll have middling results on it. There is something so satisfying of I've finished the thing, and now I'm going to put a big Sharpie line through the thing, and I can go, that is done. It's like it's got a nice productivity feel to it. So I definitely agree. While we're trending digital as much as we can, there still is definitely a place for having something that is just in front of you that you can touch. But I'm hopeful that the days of big giant blueprints spread all over project sites are the days of yesterday and not the future.
Yeah, we're definitely not still using the analog drawing approach, but in the meetings, the technology guy is the one set up with the pen and paper.
I like it.
It might sound a little cheesy, but mindfulness is the most important thing to bring to any project or any relationship. It is being present. It is being vulnerable. It's being empathetic. It's really being there and observing your environment, the people around you closely and carefully. That's the most important thing. But I will throw in the bonus, because in the physical world, every project I go to, I carry a carpenter's pencil and a tape measure, because you never know when you have to check a dimension.
Absolutely. The tape measure one comes up pretty regularly.
Yeah.
I was talking about that with somebody yesterday. I think I have 4 in my house or something. It's always good to have one handy. But your mindfulness answer, I think it really just wraps back up into some of the ethos that I'm just getting from you as we had this conversation, and comes back to that people conversation. And I'm hopeful that more of our leaders have that mentality as they step into either new leadership roles they might not have had, or start to learn and think about how they listen and understand in their environment. Because I think it has impacts on your own relationships, but also on the business. And then even if we think very firmly in the business realm, employee retention and all the staffing stuff that we all think about and talk about, but don't necessarily have the right words to kind of describe how we're trying to bring those things back together. So I love that answer. That's great.
Right. You did ask me this before. Let's see if I give the same answer. It should be the same answer. I think the tool that I try to bring to any project is collaboration and partnership. It's a 2-pronged tool. I just think, what we do is a team sport, and you can't go it alone. And so it takes collaboration, it takes great partnership. So that's the one tool in my toolbox.
You're right. I think we're in a unique industry. Like what other industry would you see 15, 20, 30, 40 different companies all converging on one small space to all collaborate seamlessly together on a schedule that they're probably not very excited about? It's a very unique environment, and collaboration is key. Jim, I have it in front of me. You did say collaboration the last time, so you're consistent, and I appreciate that. So John, how about you? What's one tool you'd bring to every project?
Very interesting question. And we talk a lot about where the industry is going, and I focus on the job site because I think the money is made on the job site in the field. And I talk about the telephone, I talk about the iPhone, I talk about a tablet. And to me, what I bring to the job site is my iPhone at the end of the day. Because I think in 2 or 3 years from now, this is how we're going to run a job site. And this telephone right here, this iPhone, is the job site of the future. People keep asking me that. We have a thing in our office called Mission Control. It's a data center where all incoming data on each particular job, we come in and we measure through our dashboards. And it's dynamic, it's not static. Then right next to it, we have what is called the job site of the future sort of catalog. And it's the different solutions we're using on a job site so people can start visualizing, again, being a dyslexic, what things potentially look like. At the end of the day, I don't think we're going to be holding job site meetings in trailers. I really don't. I don't think we're going to be sitting there with, calendars on the wall. And I don't think we're going to be having donuts in the room. I think a lot of it's going to be virtual at the end of the day. I think it's going to be a lot of it's held inside the structure itself at the end of the day. But I think that you'll have what is called a trade partner platform that everybody is leveraging different types of apps for different type of solutions on the job site. And I think that's going to create a tremendous amount of efficiency and productivity overall. So when I take a look at the iPhone, I see this as our job site of the future.
And honestly, I think that tool that you're talking about right now is the reason why I'm sitting in front of you right now, because PlanGrid would not have existed in the state it did if the iPad hadn't made the advances that it did to even bring the original idea for that tool of let's digitize our blueprints and make it easy for our field to use. And then it just kind of grew from there. And so it's exciting because the accessibility to information and the ability to communicate really does come from these tools. It introduces its own challenges, I think, because when you get into more rural communities or if you're working in confined spaces or underground, the accessibility to that data starts to become a little bit more challenging. But if we're thinking about it and embracing technology like Starlink and all these other new tools that are starting to come together, we get to solve that problem. And I know our technology is considering all of these in the back end.
Absolutely.
So appreciative of that perspective. But it's a big one. And I think it's just going to continue to escalate as we make these tools more powerful and bring more of that data into a usable fashion into the iPhone, the iPad, or whatever you happen to be using that particular day.
I don't know if that can be defined as a tool, but I bring with me the lean mindset. So, and I ask my manager to bring a lean mindset. So the way I see the world is I try to understand the value. So I take myself and I take it as a little research project. So what is the value? What does value means for the customer? And I can bet every process, every project, and we talk about project is not only even developing this podcast is a project, right? It's understanding what does value means for the customer. And something that I stress and I always try to reconsider is to eliminating any assumption. Just because you have done one time, it doesn't mean that the second time. So I try to bring this fresh mindset head. The second is looking at pure waste. What can we eliminate? Every process, we are doing it in a way that, I'll go back to the 8 type of waste and saying, okay, how can we do better? Just because we have done it the same way last time doesn't mean that we have to do it again. And what can be eliminated to be more efficient? The third, it's a mindset of continuous improvement and continuous experimentation. So this is fundamental, is the learning mindset. I am happy if I learn something from a process. And it doesn't matter what process is, a good day for me is a good day that I've learned something. And I'm trying to bring it. So I'm trying to learn. I ask questions on any project because I want to know more for a pure learning. And then finally, which is critical to me, the fourth pillar in some way of my lean mindset is respect for people. Everybody has to be treated with respect, and because everyone has a good idea, respect for people as a person, but also respect for the thinking of people, because everybody brings the perspective of the project, of that process from their view. And it's critical to me to understand why they see something similar to me or different than me or completely opposite. And to me goes back to the learning. I learned something different. So the lean mindset and split in value, waste, continuous improvement, experimentation, and respect for people are things that I always bring with me.
And that maps so closely to the culture conversation that we were having earlier as well. And when you set this up so intentionally and communicate that too, I think the big piece of that is ensuring that people, understand that those are the values that you bring to the table and expect that they do as well. Nobody's going to understand that without some very clear expectation setting alongside of it. But I am encouraged to continue hearing more meaningful conversations about lean and how it applies to construction. I think sometimes people kind of were dismissive years ago of, oh, manufacturing and construction are not the same. And we understand that they're most certainly not. But there are so many elements that we can apply to our industry. And I think the examples of that are increasing. And if you're not familiar with lean and you're listening right now, you should go back a couple episodes to my conversation with Ariana Alviar, who really dug in on how they're working on lean construction, because it has some value. But Luciana, I appreciate you sharing that. And I don't think anybody said lean as their tool yet. So that's a first, which makes me happy. It's good.
I would say my can-do good attitude.
I like that.
Only because I feel like if I was to hit my toe that morning before going to work, I'm going to have a miserable day and I'm not going to be able to focus on it. And I'm just going to be miserable. My work, it's going to show in my work and everything. But if I hit my toe and I was like, oh, I just hit my toe, and I just go on forgetting about it, then I go to work with a good attitude. And even if it's the crappiest thing I got to do, I can get through with it with a good attitude. That way, it'll show, like I said, it shows in your work. If you're going to be miserable working, it's you're not going to get finished on time, or it's not going to be fun for you to do. But if you have that attitude to keep going and getting along with people on the job, it works out in your favor. If I'm short on something and there's a plumber right next to me, because our work's very similar when it comes to fittings. If I got to just use his a jaws for a pro press, a half inch I don't have, and he's right there or she's right there, I can just use it real quick and then I'm finished with that piece. But yeah, it's a good attitude. And saying good morning to somebody, it might have made their day too on the job site.
I've even seen research now that shows that being very intentional about having that positive mindset brings so much more to your own wellness beyond just, how you feel that particular day. And so as I've gotten older too, I've realized that if I start my day and I'm sour and I carry that through my day, there's impact that lingers beyond just work and, personal life. And so when you're focused in that way, I think it impacts both yourself and everybody around you. So I like that answer. That's great.
Thanks.
I won't change from what I said the last time, because, in fact, I have doubled down even more on it, and that's empathy. I think, you talk to customers, you have to, whether it's your employees, whether it's your teammates, that is something that is so critical. We just get caught up in the minutia. You got to step back and really, appreciate and be sensitive and understanding of other people's challenges, problems, and really work with that, and I think that's critical. And, when I spend time talking to customers, you can actually relate to the challenges that they go through. And, that motivates me, that motivates my team to do better. And I think unless you can actually feel like you're in their shoes, I think having that ability, it's so critical for anybody. So I think that is something that will always remain in my toolkit.
And it's encouraging to hear people in leadership positions like yours say something like that too, because I think we've all had a manager or had leaders at organizations we've worked at in the past that the empathy part of business wasn't necessarily present. And I think that's a huge misstep, because we are all people and we're all humans and everybody has something they're dealing with. And when you can step into an empathetic moment, and if it's a business conversation, really truly listen to the problem they've had. If it's something that's outside of business, it still impacts business. And so creating that environment to be transparent about what you're dealing with, but also just having the ears to listen for that and manage all of your, professional and personal situations with that empathetic ear. I think it goes a long way. So I love your answer. I appreciate the consistency.
I think I went in maybe a slightly different direction, but I think a sense of humor is really important.
That's good.
I think, ultimately we work in construction in a people business. Developing trust and a rapport with people is really important. We also work in a very tense industry with a lot of heated arguments and tense negotiations and adversarial relationships. And I think, sometimes it can be really helpful to break the ice. Humor can go really a long way in making a connection with someone in the field, developing that relationship. I've observed a lot of positive relationships between people on the field. And I feel like, a sense of humor is maybe underappreciated.
You're speaking to my heart right now, because I'm rarely serious. Like, you probably picked up on this a little bit as we're getting into our conversation today, and it might not be present in our serious tone of our conversation here, but it's such a rewarding when you have a work environment where you can still playfully have a bit of fun too. And we're still obviously all here to do work, and there's business things and such, but like you said, the depth of the relationship that you get to have when you can use some humor in very difficult situations goes a long way. And the final thing, I've been asked this question off the cuff, but I've never actually thought about it more deeply, and I took some time to do this morning. And so I ask every single guest, what is one tool that they're going to bring to the table regardless of what project that they're working on? And I hemmed and hawed, and some people say physical tools, some say more, broad tools like, determination or listening skills or, other things like that. And I've decided, my one tool is actually my sense of humor, because I use it very deliberately across all of the projects that I use on. One, I just like having fun. I can't help but be myself. So I'm always goofing off a little bit to the best of, my ability and whatever is appropriate and professional in that moment. But using humor is a tool for me to ensure that folks that I bring on the show feel comfortable. It also ensures that the folks that I'm collaborating with, whether it's on my internal team or external to this, also understand that, we're all here to have fun. We're all working through all very similar challenges, and everybody has best intentions. But, whenever I can add a little bit of humor to a conversation, it's safe to say that I'm probably going to do that. And for everybody who has been listening for the last 3 years, we launched right before Autodesk University 3 years ago, actually. I think it was early October. I just want to thank you all for listening as this program has evolved. It's been a real pleasure and a privilege to meet with all the different guests, and I know a lot of them listen to Digital Builder today. And I'm thankful for the opportunities and the knowledge that all of these folks have been willing to share with me over the 3 years that we've had Digital Builder. We're marching closer and closer to 100 episodes, and I'm so excited to hit that milestone. But it's really shown me that folks do care about the work that we're doing here at Autodesk, and I think everybody has a part to play in moving that narrative forward. So thank you for listening. If you've been out there, if you're a new listener, there's a lot of backlog for you to check out. I don't know if I'd start with episode 1, since I was pretty new to this journey, and the way I approach Digital Builder is a little bit different than it was then. But either way, I want to send a big heartfelt thank you to both our guests and our listeners over the last 3 years. I appreciate each and every one of you very much. And on that final note, goodbye.